What up, YouTube? I'm gonna do a short video just to give you an example of why it's important to understand your clocks, how they work, so that you know how to utilize your time and conserve your hours of service. So I'm in a situation right now where I could do a couple of different things. And I actually got a message yesterday, and I'm going to pull it up and show it to you in just a minute, where the driver leader thought that maybe if I had, sorry y'all, my nails hurt. I broke it on the trailer, so then when you break one nail, you got to take them all off. And so my nails are really sensitive right now. It's a pain in the ass. So I'm going to try not to show y'all my nippity looking nails. So anyways, the driver leader was thinking that maybe I could have waited before I came out here. So let me get something out of the way, and then I will show y'all what I'm talking about. So one of the questions that I got from a subscriber is, you know, they want to come to Swift, but they want to make sure that they're going to get the miles. So my Qualcomm only shows you the last 8 days, so I can't pull up anything before then, but I will show you the miles that I have recorded right now. Now keep in mind, I'm going to show you where I reset, so obviously I don't have miles there. And when my truck broke, I have a little bit of miles. Like on the 8th, when my truck broke, the engine started having issues. They found me a load. It was 100.7 miles. They found me a load just to get to the Indiana terminal so I could get my truck looked at. And then I got on the road, and then the engine light came on again. So the last few days, you're not going to see many miles, only because my truck, the cruise control is messed up. The engine was messed up. It was overheating. There were so many different technical issues. They were just giving me loads to get to where I needed to be so I could get the truck looked at. So I have 2 days on here. And as I get into a new truck and I start doing my normal situation again, then I'll show y'all what a normal week looks to me. On average, I won't run less than 500 miles a day. For the most part, I run 600 plus. And like I said, that's on a normal schedule for me. If they send me a really short load, 9 times out of 10, I won't even take it. It's not that I won't take it. Let me stop. I will take it, but I do ask before I accept it if they can find me something that has more miles. So always, you know, if you want to make the miles, Swift will find them for you. So if they send you something, like they've been sending me, you know, a couple of 100-mile loads because they're just trying to get me where I need to go. Right now, I'm trying to make my way back to Houston. I still haven't been home to spend time with my family because of the issues that I'm having with the truck. So I keep having to stop in these different terminal areas, and I still haven't made it home. So I should be home by 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'll explain to you what's taking so long for me to get home outside of the issues with the truck. So I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see the Qualcomm. All right. So before my truck broke, it was, I'm not going to show you all my nails. It was business as usual. 547.6. I drove 11 hours, 18 minutes. And here you can see where it says driving and on duty. I run my clock out. That's just how I run. After that, that is a 632.5 right there. That's an average day for me. And actually this 547 was the back end of a load that was, I think it was 979 miles, something like that. So I drove half of it the day before, the other half the next day. And going through the mountains where I was, 547 is a lot of miles. It will take out your whole clock because going up the mountains, you only go about 25, 30 miles an hour. It slows you down a lot. So going through the mountains on the 7th, that's when my check engine light came on and all that nonsense. So I made my drop and they gave me a load to get to Gary, Indiana, which was 99 something miles away from me. So that's when I have the 100 miles. Started driving, had problems, so 257 miles. So then I was off, and so what's going on now is these two, the 453 and the 426, that is the load that I'm on right now. So it was 971 miles to get to where I am right now. And that's the load that took me from Gary, Indiana to where I am now in Denton, Texas. And so that was the journey that I was going to make to come back to Houston to finally get to go home. Well, the receiver has a very strict policy. I cannot deliver before midnight last night. So why am I not there dropping this off? Well, I am currently 5 hours away from Houston. Now, could I continue driving the truck with an empty trailer all the way to Houston? Sure, I could, but I'm not going to get paid for it. If you want to have the truck rolling, you want to make sure that you're getting paid. So they found me a load that I pick up here. Well, actually, I pick it up in Fort Worth. So it's 47 miles from here, so I'll get paid for those miles. And then they want me to take it to Sealy, Texas, which is only 40 minutes away from the Houston terminal, where I'll drop the trailer and go home. So instead of driving 5 hours for free, even though I'm going home to spend my time with my family, Swift will still pay you to get there. So instead of getting home today, like I could have, because I could have dropped this load last night at midnight and just emptied my way all the way back to Houston, and I could have gone home if I wanted to. But the whole point out here is to make money and to keep your tires moving for that purpose. So, you know, I already missed my anniversary, so any time that I can get home to spend time with my family is perfect. So it's not like, oh my God, I have to get home right now. I don't really operate that way. So I picked up the extra load. Well, I can't pick up that load until midnight. Couldn't drop this one off until midnight. But the thing is, where I'm picking up, the load that I'm picking up to go to Sealy, Texas, closer to Houston, I can't drop that one off until midnight tonight on the 14th. So I could have woke up this morning. My 10 hours would have been up at 6 o'clock this morning. I was up at that time. I could have easily gotten the truck, ran up the road, dropped this trailer, picked up my next load, and I could already, well, what time is it? I'd already be damn near close to Houston, where I need to be. But I'd be sitting around until midnight until I could go drop this off. And since I started if you start your clock really early, then what would happen is my 14 hours would run out at around, so if I start my clock at 6, my 14 hours would be up at 8 p.m. tonight. Okay, I need to drop the load at midnight. So there's 4 hours until I need to drop. But what would happen is I'd have to be sitting around for 10 hours waiting for more time, and then I would wind up dropping the load early that morning and getting home even later on Sunday. So that's not what I chose to do. You could do that if you wanted to. It's not really smart. It's better to conserve your hours, which means don't use them, and count back. So it's going to take me an hour to get from here to where I pick up the next load. So that's 1 hour of drive time. And then it's going to take me 5 hours to get from Fort Worth to Sealy, Texas, where I drop off that load. So that's 6 hours of drive time, and I'm going to be driving on a highway in Houston that I'm quite familiar with and is always fucking slow. So I'd say I give myself 7 hours of driving time. So I can't drop off that load, actually not midnight, at 1 o'clock in the morning is the earliest I can drop that load. So what I would do is count back from 1 o'clock in the morning, count back 7 hours, and add another hour for dropping, loading, taking your break, going to the bathroom. So count back 8 hours. That's what time I should be leaving. So That's the better way to do it, because I won't use all of my 10 hours dropping this load, picking up the next one, and taking it to where it needs to be. So if I do it this way, and I know this is going to sound really confusing to those who don't truck drive, but to those who do, if you're new, if you're trying to understand how to utilize your time, it's situations like this where you have options that you really get to figure out, you know, what is the best option for you and your time. And you always have to be thinking long term, because while we're worried about our 8-hour clock, our 10-hour clock, our 14-hour clock, my main concern is the 70-hour clock that's ticking for my whole week. So what I have chosen to do is I'm going to roll out of here at 6 p.m. I will go pick up my load, which is only 9 miles up the highway. I'll drop this trailer, pick up my other one, take that empty 47 miles to Fort Worth, drop this empty, pick up that loaded trailer, and I will be in Sealy, Texas at 12:30, 30 minutes before I'm supposed to be there. I will still have time on my clock to drop that trailer, pick up an empty, and get to the Houston terminal. And then I'll call my family to come get me. So I don't have to sit around in Sealy, Texas. And by the way, just knowing that area, there's not many truck stops on 45 headed towards Galveston. So I wouldn't even know where the fuck I would stay. It's just a really messy highway, traffic all the time. Like I don't even like driving on 45 in my car. So taking this behemoth, it's just not cool. I want to get in and get out. So that's what I've chosen to do. You can do whatever works for you, but burning hours just sitting around doing nothing, you're eating up your 70-hour clock, and you don't ever want to do that. So let me go to my messages, because yesterday they sent me a message that here we go. This one. All right, so yesterday this load, it couldn't be delivered until midnight last night. Well, I was on schedule to get here 9 hours early, but while my driver leader thought I was smoking dope and wanted to know why the fuck I was on the road so early, in my mind I already had a plan. So going back to the video where I told you, you know, to reset or not to reset, you know, that little recipe that I gave y'all, if you drive 8 hours and just use 1 hour of off-duty time, of on-duty time, those hours, the extra hours will roll over. That's what I did yesterday. So I have been driving 2.5 days now, but on my new 70. So after I got done with my 34-hour reset. So technically I should only have about 45 hours left on my 70-hour clock, but I have 51 and a half. And the reason is because of what I did yesterday. I recapped some hours today so that I can try to extend my 70-hour clock as long as possible. And I'm sitting here right now, but I'm not wasting my hours. So that's the tricky part, that it doesn't matter how many times I explain it. It doesn't matter who explains it to you. I could have a draw board. I could write it out for you. Until you're behind this wheel staring at this damn Qualcomm and figuring out what works for you, none of this may make sense. But you always want to choose the path with least resistance. That is so true. You never want to be in a situation like if I would have left this morning, I would have been sitting in Sealy, Texas, burning 6 hours of my time, and then would have had to wait 10 hours. Like, it's just, you never want to push the clock. I've only had to do it once, and like as soon as I got to where I was going, I actually went over my DOT time like 3 minutes. You don't want to do that. And you learn by doing mistakes like that. You trust me, I'll never go over on that clock again. But I'm trying to prevent that from happening. This hair, honestly, I got ADHD, y'all. That's a serious thing, so don't come at me. So anyways, instead of leaving this morning and going out there, even if you get off the clock, you can save those hours for later, but you need to take a break for 2 hours and then use them, because if you don't use the hours before midnight, then your clock is just going to reset anyway. It's a big mess. So there are some tips and tricks that you can use to try to have the clock work for you, but for the most part, you need to work the clock. And knowing how the clock works is key to making sure that you keep rolling and that you're getting paid for the miles that you're rolling. So I decided yesterday that it was going to take 7 hours to get here, and there was some mountains, so if I needed to use that extra hour to drive 8 hours, I was okay with that, as long as I was off my clock in 9 hours or under, which I was. So it was better for me to just drive all day yesterday, get here 9 miles away from the receiver, and just sit here today before I start my clock. I'm not burning my clock right now. I'm burning daylight. I mean, that's a given. But I'm not hurting my clock at all, because I got here, I signed off, I took a shower, I ate, I haven't started my clock yet again. So my clock is not waiting on me, and I'm not waiting on the clock. That is what you want. So instead of getting up and driving this morning and going hang out in Sealy for 6 hours and burning my clock, I'm going to wait here until 6 p.m. and then be able to use my time to drop this load, pick up the next one, drop it, and get to the terminal and still be under my 9 hours for the day. So my goal is not to reset all the time, but with these miles that they're giving me, there's not many miles for these runs, because I'm just trying to keep my truck alive long enough to get it to Houston so I can get into another truck. So, hold on. Oh, the truck just wants to die all the time. So, this is what I have to do right now. Once I get into another truck, then I'll be back to running my 500-600 miles a day, and life will be great. But in the meantime, I'm not losing money. Am I losing money in the sense that I'm not running 500-600 miles a day right now? Yes, but my truck can't take that. There's something wrong with the engine. The damn thing overheats. I'm just blessed that I'm not on the side of the road right now. So me and this truck, or I should say this truck and I, have been having some serious talks. And she's keeping me off the side of the road. And I appreciate that. Gotta give her some loving. I appreciate that. And I appreciate that Swift gives me the miles that they do, so that I'm not driving 5 hours, burning their fuel, putting more wear and tear on this truck for nothing, just for me to go home. So picking up an extra load, yes, because of the time restraints, I miss out on a Saturday with my family. I'm going to go home for 2 days no matter what. So I don't care if it's a weekend, if it's a regular day, it's summertime, kids are home anyway. So it works out. So when you come out here, don't be afraid to reach out to your driver leaders and driver managers and all that stuff. You have to communicate with them. They're not mind readers. They don't know everybody's personal situations. They need to know your situation with your truck. Like, I talk to my people every day to update them what's going on with the truck, this and that. But they will give you the miles. And, that was the biggest thing about the video is, a lot of people ask, hey, I want to go to Swift, but, I hear they don't get any miles. The only people who don't get miles with Swift are the people who don't want to drive. There are plenty of people that if they were in my situation right now, they'd probably stay in that bunk. They'd be like, okay, well, I don't have to deliver until 1 o'clock in the morning, but I have until midnight of the next day. There's that big open window. Well, fuck it, I'm tired. I'm just going to hang out in the bed, stay in the bunk, and they'll drive at the very last minute of that window, because they have that time. And you can do that if that's how you want to roll. I mean, that's on you, but you can't do that and then complain that they're not giving you loads. I have loads on top of loads on top of loads. When I send my empty call letting them know that I'm done with that entire load and I need something else, they don't have to send me something because I already have it. When I put my PTA, my projected time of availability, in for that empty call, I put it for after the next load. So then the computer generates a load for me after the one that I already have. So I stay loaded up. And I don't ever have to tell them, hey, I need to be dispatched. Which, when they do that, it gives you your stops, your fuel stops, your maps, then everything that you need for that next load. I never have to ask them for that. My dispatches come. As soon as I send my empty call, the dispatch for the next load already comes. I just hit the next location that I'm going and I keep moving. And that's ultimately what you want. You don't want to be burning your clock, waiting around for an hour, 2 hours for them to find you a load. If you are a person that keeps moving, they're going to keep you busy. That's just it. And yeah, I've taken some really, shitty mile. I mean, 489 miles in one day is not shitty. This 244 miles that I'm fixing to drive to get to Houston, on any other day, this would be shitty miles. This is miles you don't want. But it's the miles that I need to get to where I'm going. So I'm very thankful for that. And I'm not going to complain about that at all. But if I wasn't trying to go home, this is one of those loads where I would have been like, yeah, that's really good and all, but what else do you have? Because ultimately, I don't want to run any less than 500 miles a day, and typically I do not. So Swift is a very good company in that, you let them know what you want and what you need, and they're going to do everything that they can within reason to accommodate you. So don't ever worry about not having miles. The people who don't have miles are the people who don't drive, or don't know how to use their clocks, and they're always late and all this other shit. I'm always early. And I'm always sitting on top of where I'm fixing to deliver. So that's the way you should be. That way that when that clock does start, you're constantly moving. You want to keep it moving. And, that's what we're here to do. So that's what I'm here to do. That may not be what you're here to do. I don't know. Every person's journey is different. I'm just letting you know the situations that I come across, how I deal with them, and how I make driving work for me. So that's that. But anyways, let me show you this message and then I will let y'all get on with your day. So I got this message yesterday. It says you cannot deliver early, which I already knew. And it says that I am less than 244 miles away from my final delivery, and they have a strict delivery window. That's where I'm going tonight. I could only deliver from 12:01 to 11:59 that night. So there's a 24-hour window. And I had 9 hours that I was just going to be sitting. So they tell you, please plan accordingly, blah, blah, blah. Conserve your hours of service. So, to them, it looks like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. But to me, thinking further ahead down the week, I knew exactly what I was doing, and my plan is working just fine. So, did I respond to that message? I don't need to. They're just letting me know, hey, just in case you know, you're 9-10 hours early for this load and you cannot deliver. Now you're going to be burning your clock. But I was not burning my clock. I knew what I was doing. So you don't have to respond to all these messages. They're just there for your information. Maybe somebody didn't read all of their trip plan and they don't know that they can't deliver early. There's some people that do that. Some places let you deliver early. I knew because it was in big letters that there was absolutely no way they were going to let me deliver this early. And I knew that. So I came here, reserved my parking, did what I needed to do, and got off my clock so that I could roll those hours over for the rest of the week. So it's just a matter of really understanding the clock. If y'all are going into the mentor program, this macro system, you need to learn it, and more importantly, you need to learn how the clocks work and how to make them work for you and you not be looking at this clock. And as far as miles, like I said, I'm up 2 hours early before my 10 hours runs out and my clock resets every day. When that thing tells me that I have my 8 hours driving time for the day, in 2 seconds I'm signing on and starting my pre-trip. That clock is never saying, except for right now, which it should be, my clock reset at 6 o'clock this morning. But I didn't want to drive at 6 o'clock this morning because it's better for me to leave at 6 p.m. tonight. So, of course, right now it's sitting at 8 hours. But on any typical day, I'm watching, waiting for that clock to turn to give me my 8 hours, and I'm on it, ready to go. And that's how you should be, because otherwise you're just wasting everyone's time, and it's just not cool. What you come out here for? So that is what I have to bring to you today, and hopefully the next time I see you, I will be in a new truck, because this one is, like I said, she's keeping me off the side of the road, barely, but slowly but surely I'm making my way back home. I'm in Texas. I'm only 5 hours away from home, so we're getting there. Until next time, y'all be safe out there. Bye.